Hey everyone, welcome back. On my last video, I was talking about my road trip back to Colorado with my best friend Nicole, and we kind of fell in love on that road trip and sort of made an impromptu decision to get married, but I wasn't making any official proclamations yet, but I knew that that was going to be coming soon. But unfortunately, Nicole had to head back to Minnesota. She had some details to take care of back there. And I was going to try to put my life back together and move on to the next phase in Colorado. Now, in this next year and a half, it was packed with a lot of different things that happened, and it's probably going to take a couple of videos. First of all, I wound up finding a job climbing the big radio towers, and this for me was kind of a dream come true. I'd always wanted to climb the big broadcast towers, see what that was like. So I found this little outfit out of Golden. So as soon as I came back, I stayed with my friends Chris and Julie for a little bit, but mostly I was on the road with these guys, just staying in hotels, and we'd go all over Colorado up to Cheyenne, Wyoming, and it was quite the exciting gig, but very terrifying. And I ended up doing this for about a year. I learned about heavy duty rigging and welding and different types of RF and how to stack a radio tower, which is a very interesting experience actually. Being on top of one of these towers as it's getting stacked is crazy. The whole thing just moves around before the guy wires get tightened. So that was interesting. Had a couple scary things happen to me as well. I remember one time a rigging line fell off a tower, which is like this thick steel cable, and we were getting it winched up to the top. And I was down on the ground that day actually, but the winch line got caught on something on one of the diagonal braces, and the whole thing just came off the tower. And I remember just running for my life as this thing was like coming down. And thankfully nothing happened other than a damaged winch line. Nobody got hurt. But that was a crazy near miss. And then another time I was on top of one of these things. It was like a 550-foot AM tower, and it was in one of those tower farms where there's like a whole bunch of towers right next to each other. I was at the top with another guy. We were hanging a reflector antenna, and this storm came in. And I remember looking out to the west, seeing this thing come in. It was like this microburst, just the whole sky was black, and it looked terrifying. And I radioed down to the guys on the bottom. They couldn't see it coming in. They told us just to, keep on getting the thing hung, and they didn't even seem concerned about it at all. But I was just completely freaked out. And sure enough, as soon as the thing hit us, I mean, the whole tower just bent over, and the guy wires on the windward side were just super tight. On the leeward side, that guy wire was just so slack. I couldn't believe how much these towers can bend over in the wind like that. And I was just up at the top, just completely vulnerable and terrified. Lightning was striking the adjacent towers. I could feel, taste the electricity in my mouth, like I was going to get hit at any moment. So I just abandoned the project and just started running down the tower, just jumping rung to rung. Like I didn't even care. And I wasn't clipped in, and it was just pounding rain and hail and lightning striking. And the fact that I didn't fall was quite a surprise. But I had never been so scared in my life, and it was just unbelievable. But that was kind of at the end of my year working with these guys. I got to the bottom of that tower, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to do this gig anymore. But it was an awesome experience to learn how to do this type of rigging, and it actually helped me line up a future job. Uh, Later on that year, I went to this job fair for Raytheon Polar Services and had this picture and this experience working as a tower climber, and it helped me line up a cool rigging job in Antarctica. So, but I'll tell that on a future story. So besides working as a tower climber, of course, I finally got Nicole to come out to Colorado with me. She had some stuff to take care of in Minnesota, but I kept taking road trips out to Minnesota to see her and trying to like talk her into coming out there. I knew that we were gonna get married. I just didn't know how to put it together, how to put together the plans. I was just kind of living in the moment at the time. But we were out on a hike one day in the Enchanted Forest on the Apex Trail in Golden, and I slipped a ring in her jacket pocket that she wound up kind of finding by surprise on the hike, and she almost dropped it in the river. We were on this little bridge. We stayed with our friends Chris and Julie in their little apartment, and this is kind of right around the phase where I was still working, doing the radio towers and on the road a lot. and she was working as a hospice, and she found some waitressing jobs. Just had to figure out how we were gonna do this. Like, I didn't know if we wanted like a big wedding or a small wedding or what we were gonna do. And as we kind of kept talking about it, we decided to have just a very small impromptu, like, get married on the road trip. We put together plans to just head out to Las Vegas and get married out there. We didn't want like anybody out there, and it's just going to be our own thing, just the two of us. So we put together plans for another road trip and had a great road trip heading out to Vegas. Got married at like 2 in the morning, so it was actually on like February 12th, but technically it was the 13th because it was in the middle of the night. And did some climbing out in Vegas at Red Rocks, and continued our road trip, headed all the way out to California and visited my friend Dave out in Southern California, and had another great road trip. And that's how we got married, and then headed back to Colorado and started a new life together. And we continued living with our friends Chris and Julie. They actually found a really cool place in downtown Denver, and the four of us all kind of lived down there, and we continued climbing together and having a great spring out there. And I attended a climbing guide course. I needed to get prepared because Nicole and I had been offered jobs to work at Devil's Tower that following summer. So I went ahead and did the guiding course, and that was a great experience. And then Nicole and I headed out to Devil's Tower again, and this time we were going to be getting paid to be out there. So that's where I'll leave off for today. In the next video, I'll talk about what it was like to work as a climbing guide at Devil's Tower. Thanks for coming along.